Hello, this is Queen Okeke once again with the next episode of Legends from Africa with Queen Okeke. Today we'll be looking at our next personality from Africa to spotlight. His name is Robert Mugabe. He is a Zimbabwean, and he was president. He was prime minister, he was president, and he's remembered fondly for his quotes and popular sayings. Some of his quotes include discipline is not torture, but priming for a longer, healthier life. Another one says, those who do not read widely will always be shallow and nearsighted. And yet again, he said, leadership is not a consensus club, an aggregation of opinions. That is not leadership. He says, leaders are clear about where they want to go and what they want to become. And about retirement, he said, retirement is an archaic idea. It is so yesterday. About living, he said, I will not retire from my purpose and mission. I also do not plan to retire from being a motivational speaker, consultant, and writer. How do you retire from your purpose? This man went on to live for about 95 years. So sound saying. And about family, he said, love your family, bless and support your spouse, regardless. And about chairs, he said, leadership is all about strategy, development, and strategy execution. It's about understanding people and deploying them effectively. And about humor, which he is probably best known for by a wide majority of people, he said, use humor to diffuse stressful situations and also plow home some good points. Yeah. So Mugabe was born to a father who was a carpenter and a mother who was a catechist. He had really, really humble beginnings. He lived from February 1924 to September 2019. He was a Zimbabwean revolutionary and a politician, and he served Zimbabwe as president first from 1980 to 1987, and then he went on to become president of Zimbabwe from the years 1987 up until 2017. He had, at different points, at a point he was imprisoned, and he was supposed to have been in prison for just 21 months. Then it turned 8 years. Then it turned almost 11 years, and eventually he had to be released to appease the people. He did a lot for his country. Some of his policies are not well understood, but one thing was clear: Mugabe was for Africa. He stood for Africa, he stood for justice. Perhaps he stood too powerfully for some people to be comfortable with. But he lived a wonderful life. At a point, Mugabe began to call for racial reconciliation so that Zimbabwe can be one united country, so that the people of color and the whites who had colonized them can bond and become a nation of purpose. In his early days, he worked for years as a teacher. as a teacher, and he did really well. He was also a revolutionary leader for most of his life, most of his latter life. So as a teacher for his earlier life, it's no wonder that while he was in prison for all those almost 11 years that he was in prison, Mugabe was known to teach the inmates literacy skills. He taught them, he tutored them, he led them in their study. And he himself, while he was in prison, apart from teaching the inmates literacy and other basic math skills, he himself he gained several degrees. He furthered his studies while in prison from University of London. He had a master's. He got a master's in economics and a bachelor of administration and 2 law degrees. Wow! However, while he was in prison, his wife, his family was not allowed to really see him, even when his son died at the age of 3. He was still not allowed to see his family. So he had a lot of trials to overcome, to face as a revolutionary leader in Zimbabwe, but he faced them bravely, and he still had a lot of humor to share with us. So we'll be exploring the life of Robert Mugabe in different ways, videos, write-ups, documentaries, interviews, reviews, and so we enjoy you. We would seek your partnerships so that we can bring out all the things we know about him, the things that are more popular, the things that are less popular, everything, the good, the bad, the policies that he made, the good ones, the not so good ones, the ways in which he was a champion of Africa. Let's bring it up because we want to celebrate his boldness to serve, and we hope that many more people of African descent, people of color, can take up the torch and stand for what is right and stand for Africa. So in our eyes, Mugabe is legend.